talk about because I grew up with them.
Well, this is a great conversation topic because I don't think sometimes people understand when they say, family is important to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, definitively, what do you mean by family is important to you? Like, is family important to you in the sense of just the family that you create with the person that you're with? Or are you talking about everybody that's involved?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes when we think about relationships, when we get with somebody, you think that you're only with that person, but you're not.
Mm-mm.
The moment you get with somebody, you are also a part of their family, a part of their friends, and you become a part of this web, their web that they've spun and they've created prior to when you came in.
Mm-hmm.
So being in a relationship is a lot more than just that single individual. Yeah, I agree. After your parents pass away, even my mom told me that I have to stick with my life choices and the people that I'm with. But while my parents are here, because family is important to me, and this, whatever, how many years I've been alive, 32 years I've been alive, that I have this relationship with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
it's also very important to me too.
Yeah.
It's also important in like when we have kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
How important is it to me that my kids can be able to communicate with Halmoni and Halabji, right?
Yeah.
And they can't speak Korean.
Yeah.
And then Halmoni and Halabji just comes in. And I see this all the time with kids who don't know how to speak the language with their grandparents.
Yeah.
It's just, are you hungry?
Yeah.
Do you want to play with toys?
Yeah.
That's it. And it's so hard to watch because they can't communicate with each other.
That's why when my aunts met you, the first thing that they said is, "You're Korean, you speak Korean." They got so excited.
I don't even think they cared that I was Korean. It's like I could speak Korean.
Yeah.
I think that threw them off.
Yeah.
Right. It was more like, and it wasn't just, and when people say they speak Korean, by the way, like my Korean isn't the best, but I can have a conversation. Like
you could understand them 100%.
Yeah.
It's just you're used to listening, but you're just not used to speaking.
Yeah,
but you could totally talk to them.
Yeah, I could speak. It just takes me a while to warm up because I don't speak it as often anymore. If I'm talking to my mom on the phone and then I talk to her parents after, then it's easier because it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is it's like because it's not in use, I get caught up in words.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I should know this word.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I know how to say this
like
word?
I still don't know how to say intersection.
Yeah. But when I talk to her parents, it's super slow at first. And as we begin to speak throughout the day, it starts coming back.
Yeah.
And then it starts to get easier.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just all about practice. But with that too, like, would I be able to speak to your dad? No, your dad doesn't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can talk to your mom. Your mom speaks perfect English.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't be able to have a relationship with your father. And then I feel like the big approval process that I had with your family was because your aunts liked me so much. Also because I look like one of their sons.
You look like my oldest cousin.
Yeah. Which is so interesting.
I know.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that language part is very important.
Yeah.
I just don't want my culture to die. I think that's the thing I get scared about the most is like, I see people who they kind of disregard the importance of culture a lot. Like I don't feel a certain way if people want to do that.
Yeah.
Right. But I do appreciate when people choose to instill a big part of who they are into the generations that's ahead of us.
Mm.
So when you had this kid, and yeah, though we are here in America, I want our kids to be able to speak Korean. I want them to like Korean food, and I want them to understand where they came from and why I am the way that I am and who they are and why they look the way that they look. It's because you are Korean. There's a huge part of who you are that's in your blood. I truly believe that.
It's interesting because when I was growing up, I actually tried to hide the fact that I was Korean because I couldn't blend with my Korean friends, whether that was Korean friends in Korea or Korean American friends here. Like I just couldn't connect because so we have something called second generation, right? For Koreans.
Yeah.
There's first generation, which is usually our parents, and then second generation is us. And there are some of us out there, we call ourselves 1.75.
Yeah. I'm first generation.
You're first generation? No, you're second. Your parents are first.
I wasn't born here. I was born in Korea.
Oh,
I'm first generation.
Right. I forgot.
I got my citizenship when I was like 23.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh, I'm technically second.
Yeah, freaking 대한민국, dude. 대한민국, dude.
But because I lived in Korea for a bit, I had a hard time figuring out who I should blend with. But I felt like none of the Koreans accepted me for who I was. So I had a lot of resentment to Koreans. So during my teens, I pretended that I was not Korean, and also I didn't look Korean. A lot of people asked me if I was Japanese, so I just kind of absorbed that, be like, yeah, I guess I am, and kind of stay away from this Korean culture until later on in my life is when I really appreciated how much I grew up with Korean culture and just being experienced living in that culture because I mean, it's so useful now. There's so many people out there who are very interested and want to learn. And also, I could utilize it with my aunts who can't speak English. I could utilize it with your mom, not that only know how to speak Korean, but then also understand the culture so I could communicate, really using their language.
Yeah. I mean, it's important. Like I said, because you speak Korean, like you're allowed to have a relationship with my parents, and our relationship gets stronger too. And once again, I'm just going to reiterate this. This is just an opinion of mine.
Totally.
If you have a relationship and you can't communicate with your in-laws and you say that it's fine, then it's fine for you. But I do believe, as a fucking fact, just because I've never really been with a Korean girl besides you and then the girl before you, that it just wasn't possible. There was the nod, there was the hi, there was a smile. But because they couldn't speak to each other, and my mom likes to talk, she likes to get to know people.
Sure.
That's where the relationship would have stopped. She's a very sweet girl. That's it.
So that's one of your core values that you want from a girl.
Like, well, the core, the huge overlooming, core value is that family is important, right? So like when we get together, I don't want that girl just to be able to stay next to me and then have me translate everything that's going on. Oh, my mom is asking that you're hungry. Oh, my mom's asking how's work. It's dumb because there will never be a bond there. If you're okay with that, you are. But for me, because I care about the family strength a lot with generations before and after, like I need that language part to be there because my mom can't speak English and my dad can't really speak English very well.
So when I ask you, let's speak Korean so we could